everyone's cool and easy.
And everyone was respectful of the venue.
Everyone was respectful. Yeah.
Except for one guy who stole the fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
So we had to pay
stole the fire extinguisher?
Yeah, we had to pay $100 for it.
Fuck that guy.
That guy.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
That guy sucks. Glad it's over. Favorite day of the year, Sunday after the show, because we get to relax.
This year was super nice because we didn't actually have to clean anything up. After Saturday, it was good.
Yeah. But it seems like a rousing success. We're not sure. I don't know how many people.
A lot.
Yeah, we don't really have any way to track it, so it's kind of guessing. But basically, shoulder to shoulder all day, and then outside, people everywhere.
Cleveland's cool. I mean, I've only been here a couple days now, and it's hot, it's humid. I'm originally from the East Coast, so I'm not as used to that now that I'm living on the West Coast anymore. But it's a cool vibe when you're just hanging out with like tons of other like bike people in like one city, and you're going from like restaurant to bar to show and stuff, and just seeing all these cool people and meeting people and seeing old friends and stuff. So Cleveland's been very cool for the past few days, definitely.
I don't know if it's just Midwest culture or what, but it's just everyone's cool, everyone's pretty genuine. There's not a lot of peacocking around or like weird stuff. Like people are pretty laid back and chill, and I like that.
I will say that everyone was smiling ear to ear the whole show, just non-stop smiles, which from a lot of the West Coast guys that were in the show or came to the show, they were like speechless. They were like, how is everyone so nice here? And why is everyone so smiling? And there's no ego.
You know, I grew up on the West Coast, so to come out to the Midwest or the East Coast or anything like that's always a big change for me. Just slower pace of life. It's just so much more relaxing in a sense, you know what I mean?
All of the vendors that are outside, whether it's jewelry, whether it's artwork, whether it's paint or parts, it's all quality stuff.
Chris from Double Chicken Design, that's his 5th year at the show. He's been always supportive of Fuel Cleveland. I always love seeing his work, so he's always out.
Told him he's on the board.
He's on the board.
He's on the board.
Yeah. He has some say.
Which means you work and do not get paid.
Exactly.
It feels great to see people come back and say, hey, we saw your stuff last year, let me see what you have that's new, and they're excited about it. They know that you're going to be here, and they want to see what you've done over the year.
I've done Milwaukee, Mama Tried, Born Free, things like that, and it's up there with the big hitter shows, and it's big enough, but still it has that kind of small feel to it, where it's not dramatically over the top or anything like that. Just kind of low key, just right on pace.
The vibe and the atmosphere here, I really dig it. It's real. There's real bikers here, the vendors, it's all people just living the lifestyle, it's culture. There's nobody here trying to push anything odd. It's just the motorcycle community hanging out,
We try to switch everything up every year. Different bikes every year, different vendors every year, different sponsors every year.
Yeah, we have a handful of sponsors, and they're all like on the same level, meaning they each give us some cash, which helps keep the show free.
One thing I really like about Fuel Cleveland is they don't oversaturate the show with vendors. They don't oversaturate the show with sponsors. They take a few select sponsors every year 3 or 4 sponsors, and it's just Fuel Cleveland, boom, boom, boom.
Lincoln Electric has supported the show this year, built well. Old Bike Barn came back, Cheap Thrills.
Rock and Roll City Harley.
Yep, Rock and Roll City Harley, which is a local dealership, which is cool to get some support from them.
It's not like you go to these other shows where there's 500 booths, or you see the show flyer and it's like, brought to you by, and your logo's like this tiny in the corner. They just rely on a few core people to put on a great show instead of trying to just grab everything from where they can.
Sailor Jerry supported us for the 2nd year, which was awesome. So people were drinking Sailor Jerry rum and cokes at the event.
Yes.
And we had some support from Saucy local brewery with some craft beers for the show as well, which helped.
My name is Walter Gemine. This is going to take a while. Gemeinhart, Walter Gemeinhart. I'm sorry. I have a shop called Kickstart Cycle Supply, and we sell parts, rebuild motors, mostly engine work, vintage Harleys. We build bikes, we make parts. Pretty much anything you want to pay me for, I'll do.
My name is Jody Drew, and I'm with Spoke and Dagger Co. My husband and I own a retail shop in Buffalo, New York. So we specialize in motorcycle gear, parts, and apparel. We definitely cater to this kind of subculture in motorcycles, the custom builder.
Dan Delastrito. I own and operate Deathco. I sell t-shirts. Shitty black t-shirts for shitty people is what I like to say.
My name's Corey Rushford, one half of Track or Die. We are out here from Southern California, Corona. I've been wanting to come since the beginning. To us, it's kind of like the Born Free of the Midwest in a sense. This and Mama Tried Show are the 2 quintessential Midwest shows that we, at this point now, will make it to every year.
Big Truth from Chopperhead Custom Cycles, Boston, Massachusetts. We're custom bike builders. We've been building bikes since about 2001. We do custom choppers, restorations. Now we do a lot of service and repair work because the nature of the custom bike business has changed a little bit.
I gotta be honest, I go to the shows I like, and they're each unique and they all have their different flavor. And I like this one because my friends put it on, and there's always amazing bikes here that you won't see at Born Free or Brooklyn Invitational or Mama Tried.
It's a nice eclectic mix of people and bikes and companies and all sorts of stuff. So it's not segregated to just one particular style, and I think that's what makes things pretty unique and interesting.
My name's Oliver Peck. I am a tattoo artist from Dallas, Texas. I'm co-owner in Elm Street Tattoo, and I'm also a partner in Cheap Thrills apparel. Cheap Thrills Good Times. A buddy of mine started a blog about motorcycles, mid-2000s, and we started printing shirts for it. I own a print shop, and then it just kind of like went from there. And now we've just been, spreading the word of good times at all the motorcycle events we can show up to.
We had Greg and Dustin from Tattoo Faction. They came down and were doing tattoos all day long. We weren't sure how many people were actually going to want to get tattooed at a giant show
all
like that.
day.
But
all day.
The fact that they were in the AC, you could get tattooed and stare at the bikes a little longer than if you were standing out there.
He said they did 40 plus or something like tattoos.
40 plus
Yeah,
tattoos.
two guys.
And they were pretty big flash work. It wasn't like tiny flash stuff.
Right.
It wasn't little bangers. It was like huge stuff. So
Yeah.
it's pretty neat to see them actually be able to do much
Definitely
work.
want to do that again next year.
Sarah with Revelry Tintype was there doing Tintype Photography, which is really cool. Basically old-timey photos. And it was cool. It was a super neat experience.
I'm Sarah. I own Revelry Tintype. It's the third oldest photographical process. Essentially, I'm creating film on a sheet of metal or glass, so it has to be processed within a 15-minute window. I pour a layer of collodion on it, which is technically not an emulsion, it's a colloidal suspension, and it's what the silver nitrate adheres to make the exposure.
She's obviously really into her art, her craft, and ended up with a neat keepsake that I'm sure will be stoked on.
So it's really lovely because it kind of gets you to slow down, especially in this like digital age of craziness. But I think that's the beauty in it, and that's why so many people are drawn to it.
So yeah, it was cool. It was busy. She was busy all day, jamming.
I think the bikes on this show are fantastic. It's one thing that makes this show real great is all the different bikes. There's a wide variety of bikes here at the show, from race bikes to real, what I would even call antique bikes.
Danny McGill brought his 1905
Was it the Wagner?
the Wagner. That thing was, how old's the one in the Smithsonian?
I think he said it was 07.
So it's like the oldest one.
Yeah, so
in
it's the
existence.
only one known. And they're patented in 02, made I think it was La Crosse, Wisconsin. That one was dragged out of the woods by hunters in the early 80s, real rough, and then sold to someone, and then Danny bought from that guy in the early 80s and restored it. And it's pretty neat. I think, yeah, compared to like the 07 in the Smithsonian.
That was just in the middle of the show. You just walk right up to it.
Danny hit me up after last year's show, and he goes, man, that was the best show I've ever been to. It was so nice to talk to people. He's like, I'll be back every single year if you want. And I got so much stuff. And he goes, if you think that 1915 was cool, wait till you see what I bring next year. And then he brought this 1905. He's gonna bring another one that will probably blow people's minds next year. He's got a wild collection, so I'm really excited for that.
I don't personally have a bike, but I brought 4 bikes from Canada with my buddies. So we have a vintage Triumph drag bike down there. There's a vintage Triumph land speed bike. And then there is a custom, I don't even know how to categorize it. There's a custom JA Prestwich. It was a rotor tiller that my buddy Herb fabricated into a land speed racing motorcycle. Yeah, it's a JA Prestwich 600cc rotor tiller that was making 7 horsepower, and Herb made a bunch of speed equipment for it and modified it, and he's got it up to 18 horsepower now. So that is actually a 1947 rotor tiller motor that has been built into a 1933 BSA chassis, and then Herb fabricated the fork. It's got a Honda Civic car piston in it, and yeah, it's quite the machine down there.
I was lawless for like 6 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He called it the New Jersey drag strip out front.
Yeah.
That's what the cops said.
Yeah. Even the cops were saying, 4 blocks away, there's motorcycles everywhere, just parked, and people hanging out. And
The cop looked worried and said, just keep everyone calm, because there's nothing we could do anyway.
The cop came up and said, hey, is there an event going on? And they just pointed at the billboard.
yeah, the cop car pulled up, and they said, is there a motorcycle show going on? And she laughed, and she said they weren't smiling, and she said, well, yeah. And like, where? So she pointed at the billboard and pointed at the building. Like, they were so confused, they had no idea. Like,
Yeah,
there was also
motorcycles.
thousands of motorcycles surrounding them, but I don't know. They seemed confused.
It's pretty funny.
The bike that I have here is the first build I've ever done. I was always really inspired by the bikes my friends were building. These guys had these little tight XS 650s, and they're just ripping around on them and super fast and like cutting all the corners and stuff, and I was just like, that's cool, that's what I want to be doing. I worked on it for like a year and a half, it's kind of in my spare time. So when it was done and I was finally like really proud of it, and Fuel put up the call for submissions, and I submitted it in, and I get a text from Mikey, he's like, you're from California, can you actually bring your bike out to this show? And I was like, dude, if you want me there, I will make it happen.
this year was the first year I brought a bike that wasn't mine. I built for a customer. It came in for some service work and there was some stuff broken. It's a 1968 XLCH, which is a magneto ignition early Sportster, 900 Sportster. And he called me up one day and said, hey, I heard you're the guy to fix my bike. He said, I looked at all your bikes you've done. I like what you do. Do your thing, man. And I think he's really stoked on it. I'm stoked on it, you know. If I saw that bike going down the road, I would be like, fuck, hell yeah.
This year, instead of bringing a newer motorcycle or newer build or whatever, I brought a, a 1947 Knucklehead Survivor chopper that was built in 1968. It's just a really cool bike, and not a whole lot of people had seen it, so I figured it'd be a cool place to bring it this year. Man, I have done nothing to this chopper. It is exactly the way it was built in the late 60s. It might have had some early modifications and some stuff done to it in the 70s, but it's been parked for decades. It's got this silly little dragon stencil on the tank. It's just, home done metal flake that's just caked on there like cake icing. All I did was zip tie a Texas license plate onto the back of it, and it's just super cool.
So I brought my old personal chopper, which I had never brought here before, and it's one I built like 10 years ago, and it's, people come up like, I can't believe like people have seen it in magazines years ago and they were stoked just to see it in person. So it's an old pan shovel. It's a 1956 panhead with a shovel head top end, all engraved.
The bike that I have in this year is actually was featured on American Pickers. RJ Wolf put it up for sale and I had to have it, and it was a barn find. It was dirty, had a rusty spoke, mismatched rear wheels, and a velvet seat full of mold, and a half-inch of dust throughout the bike, and just a bunch of different things wrong with it. But the day that we got it to the shop, I took one look at it and I was like, this is a survivor. This thing was built with love in the 70s by somebody. We didn't clear coat anything, we just buffed everything out. The bike has, scratches and nicks and whatnot in the paint, but you look at it from 10 feet and it's just a magical machine.
I'm always enamored with old patina bike that looks like a barn find, as long as it's not super fake. There's a few bikes out there that look like they just kind of got put away in 1967 and just got rolled back out and tuned up and they're on the road. Whether they really are or not, I don't know, but they look like that, and those are always really interesting to me. I'm usually more interested in walking around the curb out in front of the show and looking at the bikes that got ridden there, or the bikes that are parked in the dirt across, and go have a smoke with one of those guys. I guess one of the unique things about Fuel in that way is that a lot of these bikes look like riders. They're not all super bondoed show bikes. They seem more realistic to me. Like, I bet you every one of those bikes is actually wired. I've been to some shows that the bikes aren't wired, or they're, you hear rumors that there's no flywheels in this Knucklehead, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, man, that's not really fair, So I think all these seem like realistic bikes that have actually been ridden at one point or another.
The amount of bikes that we booked, or I tried to book for the show this year, we made a number in my head. We said, let's do 100. I think I booked 105 because I was just a little excited about some that were really, and it was hard because there's probably 600-700 submissions, so between all of us, hey, do you like this bike? Do you like this bike? No on this bike, whatever. And, we still made sure to write everyone back to like, hey, sorry we didn't pick you, but still write out the show. And, everyone that submitted, I think I saw in the outside areas to that parking lot.
It's just nice that we're able to get such an eclectic group of bikes.
That's what I was going to say, the mix.
The mix is great, because no matter what kind of motorcycle you're into, it was in the show.
That's something that makes the curation hard.
Right.
It's not about being like exclusive or like cool guy or any of that. So it's about
when I have a certain amount of these,
right.
A certain amount of these.
The 100 bikes is like max. Like we might actually dial it back a slight amount, but yeah, having the right mix. Can only have so many of Harley choppers or whatever.
I'm a huge shovelhead guy, and we got like probably 100 shovels. I can't put 100 shovels in the show. And there's a bunch of them that are super amazing, and it's like, shit, how do you pick the best of the best? And so what we always plan on doing is picking one that looks completely different than the next, so that everyone has a style in mind, can enjoy at least one that's in the show.
I got a hard time, explaining why somebody should come to a show. But other than you're gonna meet a lot of cool people and see a lot of great rolling artwork, and photography and painting and everything that encompasses the motorcycle scene today.
I think that Fuel Cleveland brings this like culture that captivates from all generations. You see the young kid that got inspired from Instagram to like the old guy that's been doing this since the 60s and 70s, and everyone is coming to one place and finding this common ground.
It's pretty rad, and they've really got their fingers on the pulse of things here, I think.
What I like about Cleveland is you can drink really fucking cheap. That's one thing I like about Cleveland. It's, but you know, honestly, what I was just saying, like how it's kind of a loose town. It's fun. Anytime we come, we go out, and wherever they're doing the after parties or the pre-party and stuff, it's always a good time.
The show's the reason to get everyone together, but before the show and after the show, at whatever shithole bar we're all hanging out at, I think that's when the real magic happens, because it's just the interaction. It's the human interaction. Not that it doesn't happen at the show, but I feel like, you know, after the show and all, like, you're like, we did it. Awesome. I can like exhale now. And then people start to relax and you go out and have beers.
Fuel has become a national draw, an international draw. Just was talking with groups of people that came all the way from Canada, Toronto, just for this event. And without a doubt, Fuel feels like family.
It's just one of the coolest, small, tight-knit, you know, family-style shows, and we really like it. And just been a great partnership working with these guys here at Fuel Cleveland, and it's always, you know, just probably one of the best one-day events that we go to.
It's just exciting to be part of it, and you know, as long as it continues, I'll definitely be part of it and be boots on the ground, because I think that that's, you know, an important part of what we do.
Fuel has definitely grown and evolved, but even that very first one seemed really successful right off the bat. It wasn't like a backyard party at somebody's house with 16 guys on bikes, you know. It was always successful and vibrant right off the bat on the very first one.
First of all, a lot of shows cost money, and Fuel's free, and that's fantastic. And there's something about the people at this show. There's a great pre-party, a great after-party. I get to see a lot of people here that I don't see very often. Some people I only see here.
I don't care if you're 22 or you're 65, you still love motorcycles probably the same way you did when you first sat on one, and that doesn't go away if you're a lifer at this. And I think that a lot of the people that are here and involved in this show are people that are going to have a lifelong involvement with motorcycles, and the more of that we can foster, the stronger things like this show and the entire US motorcycle industry will have.
Just the creative passion and vibes that everyone brings to the show. Honestly, I think that that's set by the guys that put on the show.
You know, they put on a minimal show, but it's maximum output. You know, great bikes, great people, great support, and it's just a lot of fun. We like to do shows that are like parties, and this is just like a daytime warehouse party with a bunch of badass motorcycles around.
Come. If not, if you're a miserable bastard, please stay home. Don't come. Dude, it's not for you. You'll never have a good time because at heart you're a broken person.
Fuel Cleveland to us is an opportunity to let other people shine. That we, you know, want other people's hard work to be noticed, and also give back to the community of Cleveland. That's why we do it for free. And
these guys put so much work into their bikes, and really all they want to do is show them to other people.
And why capitalize on their work?
Yeah, and most of the really big shows are so far away. They're either in New York or they're in Los Angeles. There's not a lot of shows in the middle of the country. So that was why when we started this 5 years ago, there really wasn't any. That's the whole point. So guys that we do business with on a daily basis that are busting their ass to build these projects have an outlet to go show them to everybody and get their
like-minded people.
To like-minded people
who actually care and want to talk about it.
Yeah. So we're able to bring all those people together so they can meet each other.
And giving back to the community, and what Fuel Cleveland is the name, is fueling Cleveland's economy a little bit. I mean, countless people are staying in hotels, going to restaurants, bars.
Yeah.
It's good for everyone.
In the motorcycle community.
Yeah, the motorcycle community
over.
itself, it's fueling everything. So that's really why we chose that name too, not just because it was a clever gasoline.
Do you want me to look at you or? Look at me. Okay.
Sorry, start that over.
You need my prison number?
Yes. I don't want to mention the military. Can we start over?
Man, I love Cincinnati. No.
I have a cover band called Barry Waits, where we do Tom Waits songs in the style of Barry White. So I think that's important for you to know.
Just feel like the sweaty dude.
You almost fell off the roof.
I did almost fall off
You almost
the roof.
knocked your wife's head
And you
off the
almost
ladder.
crushed my wife with a ladder.
I saved her.
You
I
did.
got
You
she
saved
yelled
her
at
life.
me.
And then I have another band called Barry Waits that we do Barry White songs in the style of Tom Waits. It's my passion.
Yeah, I always have a good time in Ohio.